Hello, this is Mike Taylor from Pinpoint Dental Equipment Service in Colorado, and I'd like to take a look here. I'm making a video. I wanted to show you 1 to 5 electric handpiece, and primarily I wanted to make this video to give you an idea of the inner workings of the electric high-speed handpiece and how you can save some money on your repair bill. Basically, what we're looking at here is StarDental 1 to 5 AC high speed. This is a 1 to 5, meaning that the motor operates at a maximum 40,000 RPM, and then that in turn drives the head of the handpiece at 200,000 RPM. So basically what's happening is this input gear here connects to the motor, this shaft, and then it'll operate at 40,000 RPM. It's a bigger gear that will allow this smaller gear, this is the intermediate shaft, this smaller gear will turn 5 times at the ratio of every 1 turn of the input gear. So that's the multiplier of 40,000 to 200,000 RPM. Now what happens normally is when you're operating your handpiece over a period of time, the most wear and tear will occur on the bearings. And the head cartridge here, I have only one bearing attached to this head cartridge, but basically this is spinning at 200,000 RPM, and then initially what will happen is the bearings that take such a high speed will be the first to fail. There's a man-made plastic material that holds these balls separated from one another, and over a period of time with repeated sterilizations and just general use, the bearings will begin to fail, and that's where you get problems with excessive noise and heat buildup. But if you take your handpiece out of service at that time, hopefully what'll happen is during the repair, only these bearings, there's two bearings inside this intermediate cartridge, this intermediate shaft, one here and one here, and then the 2 head bearings. If during the repair all I need to do is replace those bearings, then the cost will be considerably less than if there's wear and tear on the gears. And you have on the head cartridge here, this gear is driven by what's called this upper intermediate shaft gear, and then this is the lower intermediate shaft gear here, and the input gear. So these are the primary gears that if and when the bearings fail and the handpiece is still operating, the resistance will cause the teeth on these gears to wear down or actually break. I've had some, I'll show you here if I can get a little bit of a close-up. This is an input gear on a W&H WA99LT, and most of the teeth are missing. What happened was when those bearings failed, then there was so much resistance on this gear that the teeth actually were sheared off. So anyway, I had to replace that. And I believe, if I remember correctly, on that particular repair, I had to replace this head cartridge, this entire spindle, and the intermediate shaft upper gear along with the input gear. And I believe that repair cost was up in the mid $500 range. And generally, if I only have to replace bearings, then the repair cost is down to about $200 or so. So keep that in mind. Again, if you're operating your handpiece and you're experiencing excessive buildup, the burr wobble, or in general just excessive unusual noise, then you should take your handpiece out of repair. I have here NSK T-Max TI-85LA. It's another 1 to 5 high speed. Basically Star and NSK were the same design with various differences. Like on this model, for example, there's just a single port air and water spray, where other models had a multi-port like this here. I don't have the head out, but anyway, there's just these minor differences, but they operate the same. Every electric handpiece high-speed will have this kind of configuration. And anyway, this is a smooth running handpiece here. There's no noise. Another thing you can do is to check periodically to see how easy it is to turn the burr inserted into the handpiece. And if you feel excessive resistance or it's real difficult to turn, then that's a good indication that these bearings are wearing out. So good time to take it out of service. And then another thing, of course, too, is over a period of time, if you're having problems with the burr slipping, that means the chuck inside this complete head cartridge here, inside there's a spring and what's called a chuck, which basically is a small steel device that grips the burr. When you push down on the button of the handpiece, this is the actuator here, and that's what allows you to insert or remove the burr. So anyway, that's a look at that. And that's basically a indication of what you can do to avoid high repair bills. Is again, if you're having trouble with burr wobble, excessive noise, or excessive heat generating, then right away take your handpiece out of service, and hopefully the high cost items such as the head cartridge or the intermediate shaft input gear, those type of items don't need to be replaced, those parts that is. So anyway, thanks for taking time to look at this video. This is Mike Taylor with Pinpoint Dental Equipment Service. Thank you. Have a good day.